Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world, has always been a symbol of human determination and adventure. But behind its beauty lies a dark side filled with tragic stories. Many climbers have reached the summit, but others have faced deadly challenges on its dangerous slopes. Among those who have died, some stories stand out for their heartbreaking details and the tough questions they raise about the risks of climbing and the power of nature. From deadly avalanches to lonely tragedies, here are the 5 worst deaths on Everest that remind us of the dangers that come with chasing such an incredible dream. Babu Cheri Sherpa's story, much like the peaks he conquered, is marked by extraordinary heights and a tragic fall. Born in Nepal in 1965, Babu began his journey as a trekking porter at the age of 15, carrying heavy loads through the Himalayan terrain for meager pay. But even in the face of hardship, his determination to rise above his circumstances never wavered. Over the years, he worked tirelessly, gradually ascending the ranks in the mountaineering world. At 23, he achieved his breakthrough, joining an expedition to Kanchenjunga, the world's 3rd highest peak. Defying expectations, Babu reached the summit without supplemental oxygen while assisting his team, a remarkable feat that showcased his strength and resilience. What followed was a career that cemented Babu's legacy as one of the greatest Sherpa mountaineers in history. Among his many accomplishments was spending an unprecedented 21 hours atop Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen, an achievement unmatched to this day. He also shattered speed records, summiting Everest in just 16 hours and 56 minutes, a record later broken but no less impressive in its time. Over his career, Babu reached the summit of Everest 10 times, an achievement few could match. Yet, Babu's story extended beyond the icy slopes of the Himalayas. He was not just a climber but also a humanitarian and environmentalist. Driven by his commitment to his community, he worked to establish a school in his hometown, providing opportunities for future generations. His contributions were honored by the Nepalese government, which inaugurated the Babu Cheri Memorial Museum in Kathmandu and erected a statue in his honor. In 2001, Babu embarked on what would tragically be his final expedition to Everest. For a climber of his caliber, the journey was expected to be routine. By then, he had already conquered the mountain 10 times, earning a reputation as one of the most accomplished Sherpas of his time. The expedition began in early April, with Babu and his team acclimatizing at base camp. By May 19th, they had reached Camp 2, positioned at 6,400 meters, waiting for clear weather to attempt the summit. But on that fateful afternoon, while the team rested, Babu ventured out onto the glacier to take photographs. The snow concealed a narrow crevasse, and in a split second, he fell through. When the team realized he was missing, a search party was quickly assembled. Following footprints in the snow, they located a small hole where Babu had fallen. Despite the treacherous conditions, an Argentinian climber, Willy Benegas, took the lead, descending into the crevasse in freezing darkness. By morning, Benegas, assisted by another Sherpa, worked tirelessly to recover Babu's body. Within the confines of the 80-centimeter-wide crevasse, they painstakingly removed ice, finally securing the body to a rope. Over the next 8 hours, nearly 60 Sherpas collaborated to carry Babu's body down the mountain, navigating the perilous icefall and countless crevasses to bring him back to base camp. Babu's death shocked Nepal and the global climbing community. He left behind his wife and 6 daughters, whose grief was immeasurable. In recognition of his legacy, the Nepalese royal family promised to provide his daughters with free education at one of the nation's most prestigious schools. Babu Cheri Sherpa's life was one of resilience, courage, and generosity. He climbed mountains not just for personal glory, but also to uplift his community and inspire others. His tragic death serves as a poignant reminder of the risks inherent in chasing greatness. Yet, his legacy endures, both in the history of mountaineering and in the lives of those he touched. For those who hear his story, Babu remains a symbol of determination, a man who reached unimaginable heights, but whose heart never left the ground. In 1974, renowned French mountaineer Gérard Devoiseux set his sights on the formidable west ridge of Mount Everest. one of the most treacherous routes to the summit. Known for its rugged terrain, unpredictable weather, and unparalleled difficulty, the West Ridge had long challenged even the most skilled climbers. Devusu, celebrated for his remarkable climbing expertise, joined a team of 19 climbers and Sherpas on this daring expedition. The group arrived at the base of the mountain in late August, fully aware of the risks they faced. The monsoon season was ending, but the weather remained highly unstable, turning their venture into a calculated gamble where every step could tip the balance between triumph and disaster. Undeterred by the looming threat of volatile conditions, the team pressed forward, setting up a series of high-altitude camps along the route. Their determination and camaraderie helped them endure the challenges posed by the West Ridge. Spirits remained high as they acclimatized and prepared for their final push toward the summit. However, the mountain's unpredictable nature soon revealed its devastating power. On the night of September 9th, catastrophe struck with unrelenting force. As the climbers rested in their tents, a massive avalanche thundered down the slopes, engulfing the camps with snow and ice. The sheer force of the avalanche was overwhelming, burying Devusu and 5 Sherpas beneath its crushing weight. Those who survived scrambled to search for their teammates, digging frantically through the debris in the hope of finding survivors. However, the destruction was too extensive, and their efforts proved futile. Neither Devusu nor the Sherpas were ever recovered from the icy depths. The tragedy left the climbing community in a state of mourning, leaving survivors and loved ones devastated by the loss. The West Ridge, already infamous for its perils, became a haunting symbol of nature's unyielding power and the fragility of human ambition. The loss of 6 lives in a single night reminded us all the extreme risks associated with high-altitude mountaineering, where the line between success and catastrophe is perilously thin. In the aftermath of the disaster, climbers avoided the West Ridge for the next 5 years. Its reputation as a deadly route solidified. The avalanche became a cautionary tale, reminding us the importance of respecting the mountain's unpredictability and sheer force. It also shed light on the invaluable contributions and sacrifices of Sherpas, whose courage and expertise are often overlooked in the narratives of climbing achievements. Gérard Devuasu's legacy, along with that of the Sherpas who perished alongside him, endures as a testament to the spirit of exploration and the deep bonds forged in the face of danger. Their story, though marked by heartbreak, stands as the example of the resilience and camaraderie that define the climbing community. For those who venture onto the West Ridge today, the memory of that fateful expedition serves as both a sobering warning and an enduring inspiration, a call to approach the mountain with humility, respect, and unwavering caution. In 1924, George Mallory, 37, and Andrew Sandy Irvine, 22, embarked on a British expedition with the ambitious goal of becoming the first to conquer Mount Everest. At a time when Nepal was closed to foreigners, the team approached the mountain from its Tibetan north side, a route as daunting as it was remote. The expedition was a testament to human determination and the spirit of adventure, but it would ultimately become one of mountaineering's most enduring mysteries. Mallory and Irvine began their summit push on June 6th, setting out from the North Col at an altitude of 7,000 meters, 22,966 feet. Accompanied by Tibetan helpers, they made their way toward Everest's unforgiving upper slopes. By the following day, the pair had reached their final high camp at approximately 8,200 meters, where the Tibetan porters turned back. Before parting ways, Mallory handed a note to one of the porters, addressed to fellow expedition member Noel Odell. In it, Mallory outlined where he expected Odell might spot them the next day and at what time. On June 8th, the weather briefly offered a break from the relentless cloud cover, and Odell caught a fleeting glimpse of 2 figures, tiny moving dots, on a rock step along the northeast ridge. It was the last known sighting of Mallory and Irvine. After that moment, the pair vanished into Everest's icy expanse, their fate shrouded in mystery. Efforts to search for the missing climbers were hindered by the harsh conditions. Odell ascended to the high camp again, pushing beyond it in a desperate attempt to locate his teammates. However, A violent storm swept through the mountain, forcing him to retreat. The onset of monsoon conditions made any further search impossible. Heartbroken and with no alternatives, expedition leader Edward Norton sent a telegram to the Times in London. Mallory and Irving killed in last attempt. It was a somber conclusion to an expedition that had come tantalizingly close to history. Norton himself had reached an altitude of 8,570 meters without bottled oxygen during the expedition, a record for unassisted climbing on Everest that stood until 1978. That year, Reinhold Messner and Peter Habeler achieved the first ascent of Everest without supplemental oxygen, finally surpassing Norton's remarkable feat. Decades passed, and the mystery of Mallory and Irving's disappearance continued to haunt the climbing community. In 1933, another British Everest expedition found Irving's ice axe at an altitude of 8,460 meters, a chilling reminder of the duo's ill-fated attempt. Over the years, sporadic reports from climbers hinted at the discovery of an old corpse between 8,100 and 8,500 meters, but none of these sightings could be verified. The breakthrough came on May 1, 1999, when American climber Conrad Anker, part of an international search team, stumbled upon Mallory's body. Found at an altitude of 8,159 meters, Mallory's remains were frozen in rubble, his broken leg and visible head injuries evidence of a catastrophic fall. Despite this discovery, Irving's body remains missing, leaving a crucial piece of the puzzle unresolved. Among the items missing from Mallory's body was a small Kodak camera. If recovered, the camera could potentially hold photographic evidence that Mallory and Irving reached the summit, solving the question that has lingered for nearly a century. Did they achieve the first successful ascent of Everest before perishing on their descent? The tale of Mallory and Irving endures as a special chapter in the history of exploration. Their courage and ambition pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible at the time, inspiring generations of climbers who followed. While their ultimate fate remains clouded by uncertainty, their story proves the unforgiving nature of the world's highest peaks and the enduring human desire to reach for the unknown. On a fateful night in May 2006, the icy slopes of Mount Everest became the scene of a tragedy that would shake the climbing community and redefine the ethics of high-altitude mountaineering. David Sharp, an experienced British climber, lay dying near the summit. As dozens of climbers passed him by, their focus fixed on their own ambitions. His lonely demise raised troubling questions about morality, survival, and the cost of achieving greatness in one of the world's harshest environments. David Sharp's life began far from the frozen peaks of the Himalayas. Born and raised in Hertfordshire, England, he followed a conventional path through education, earning a master's degree in engineering from the University of Nottingham and embarking on a promising career with a defense contractor. Yet, beneath this structured life, Sharp harbored a deep love for adventure. His passion for mountaineering emerged through gradual ascents of smaller peaks before he took on greater challenges, including the Matterhorn in Switzerland and Kilimanjaro in Africa. Over time, his focus shifted to the towering giants of the Himalayas, driven by an uncompromising spirit and a belief in pure, self-reliant climbing. Sharp's climbing philosophy reflected a purist's view of the sport. He rejected the reliance on supplemental oxygen and large expedition teams, viewing these as dilutions of the authentic climbing experience. For him, the true test of human endurance was in confronting nature on its own terms. In 2002, Sharp successfully climbed Cho Oyu, the world's 6th highest peak, without bottled oxygen, earning admiration for his strength and resilience. This feat bolstered his confidence and set the stage for his ultimate goal, a solo ascent of Mount Everest. By 2006, Sharp was determined to conquer Everest, but he approached the challenge with minimal support. He enlisted the Nepal-based agency Asia Trekking for their basic service package, which provided only logistical aid up to advanced base camp, a permit, and limited oxygen supplies. This austere approach left him vulnerable, but Sharp embraced the risk, telling others, "If I don't do it this time, I'm not coming back." On May 13th, Sharp began his final ascent from the North Pole. The details of his climb remain shrouded in mystery. Without a radio or satellite phone, he left no record of his progress, and whether he reached the summit is unknown. Some climbers reported seeing a figure resembling Sharp near the summit that day, leading to speculation that he may have succeeded or come heartbreakingly close before trouble struck on his descent. Exhausted and disoriented, Sharp sought shelter in Green Boots Cave, a rocky alcove infamous for housing the body of Sawang Paljor, a climber who perished there in 1996. At an altitude of over 8,500 meters, the cave sits in Everest's death zone, where oxygen levels are perilously low and temperatures can drop to lethal levels. Sharp was spotted by multiple climbers as he sat in the cave, struggling to survive in the thin air. Turkish climbers were among the first to encounter Sharp early on May 15th. Though alive, he was gravely weakened, suffering from frostbite and severe oxygen depletion. They attempted to help, but, limited by their own resources, could do little before continuing their descent. Later, a commercial expedition led by Russell Bryce passed by. Among them was double amputee climber Mark Inglis, who noted Sharp's deteriorating condition but deemed him beyond saving. With their own safety and objectives in mind, the team moved on. As Sharp's condition worsened, a Sherpa who approached him heard his final words, "My name is David Sharp. I'm with Asian Trekking, and I just want to sleep." He succumbed soon after, becoming one of Everest's many victims. At just 34 years old, Sharp's life ended in solitude on the icy slopes he had worked so hard to conquer. Sharp's body remained in Green Boots Cave for a year before Sherpas respectfully relocated it to a nearby cliff, letting it fall to the north face. His death sparked an outcry within the global climbing community, igniting debates about the ethical responsibilities of climbers. Many criticized the individuals who passed him without offering aid, while others pointed to the near-impossible challenges of rescue at such altitudes. Sharp's minimalist approach, lack of a support team, and limited oxygen were also seen as contributing factors to his fate. The story of David Sharp is a reminder of the dangers of Everest and the harsh realities of mountaineering at extreme altitudes. It exposed the thin line between triumph and tragedy, forcing climbers to confront the moral complexities of their pursuit. While Sharp's death describes the risks of solo expeditions, it's also an ode to the human spirit's unyielding desire to reach the top, even when the cost is everything. In the early hours of April 18, 2014, Mount Everest witnessed its deadliest accident to date, a tragedy that claimed the lives of 13 Sherpas, left 3 missing, and injured several others. The avalanche struck the Khumbu icefall, a notoriously perilous stretch on the south side of the mountain, around 6:30 a.m. local time. It swept through the popcorn field, an area at approximately 19,000 feet, 5,800 meters, known for its massive ice blocks scattered like frozen debris. The Sherpas, integral to Everest expeditions, were ferrying equipment for climbers when disaster struck. The Khumbu icefall has long been infamous among mountaineers. It's a chaotic, ever-shifting maze of towering seracs and crevasses, constantly reshaped by the mountain's movement. The avalanche originated from the west shoulder, where hanging glaciers loomed ominously above. These glaciers, precarious and unpredictable, are prone to collapse without warning, sending cascades of ice and snow barreling down the mountain. For the Sherpas caught in the avalanche, there was no escape. Every year, hundreds of climbers flock to Everest, drawn by the allure of summiting the world's highest peak. The Southeast Ridge route, first conquered in 1953 by Sir Edmund Hillary and Sherpa Tenzing Norgay, remains the most popular path. For these climbers, many paying upwards of $50,000 for the chance to stand atop Everest, success relies heavily on the labor and expertise of Sherpas. These elite mountaineers, often unacknowledged by the broader climbing community, are the backbone of every expedition. For each client attempting the climb, at least 2 Sherpas work behind the scenes, carrying loads, setting up camps, and fixing ropes on the route. The Khumbu icefall is arguably the most dangerous place in the climbing world according to many veteran mountaineers. You can sit at base camp and watch avalanches roar down over the route, terrifying everyone. To mitigate risks, climbers typically traverse the icefall at night, guided by headlamps when the ice is more stable. Between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m., the temperatures are low, and the glaciers above are less likely to shed their loads. By daylight, as the sun warms the mountain, the ice begins to melt and crumble, increasing the likelihood of avalanches and collapses. The Sherpas, however, bear the brunt of these dangers. Their work demands repeated trips through the icefall, often carrying heavy loads to support the climbers who will follow in their footsteps. Sherpas take the biggest risks, said renowned climber Conrad Anker. They shoulder the real burden of climbing Mount Everest. Among those lost in the avalanche was Ang Kaji Sherpa, a seasoned climber and father of 6. Kaji's reputation as one of the strongest Sherpas on the mountain was well earned. In 2012, during the North Face National Geographic Everest expedition, Kaji became the first person that season to summit Everest, skillfully fixing ropes for the climbers who followed. Humble despite his achievements, Kaji returned to camp after his summit bid that year, greeted by applause. With a quiet smile, he simply said he wasn't that tired. Kaji's dedication to his team extended beyond his climbing prowess. On the same expedition, as the climbers reached the death zone, an altitude above 26,000 feet, 7,900 meters, where survival is a constant battle, Kaji ran tirelessly between tents, delivering hot bowls of soup to the weary team. His selflessness and strength made him a pillar of support, both literally and figuratively, on the unforgiving slopes of Everest. The avalanche that claimed Kaji and his fellow Sherpas exposed the harsh realities of mountaineering's reliance on these unsung heroes. While climbers often bask in the glory of reaching Everest's summit, it is the Sherpas who risk their lives repeatedly, carrying loads, ensuring safety, and navigating the mountain's most treacherous passages. Their sacrifices have made countless ascents possible, but the toll is immense. Afterwards, the climbing community was forced to confront uncomfortable truths about the ethics of high-altitude expeditions. For many Sherpa families, the loss was not just personal but also economic. Sherpas often support entire households with the earnings from a single climbing season, making their work not only perilous but essential for their family's survival. The 2014 Khumbu icefall avalanche stands as a reminder of the risks faced by those who make Everest's dreams a reality for others. For the Sherpas who lost their lives that day, including Ang Kaji, their courage and contributions remain etched into the history of the mountain. And for those who continue to climb Everest, the tragedy is a call to honor the lives and legacies of those who pay the ultimate price on its unforgiving slopes.